happened to Billy and you kept moving forward. Like, come on, what are you doing? What are you doing? I was trying to exaggerate, you know, in a negative way maybe, but why would I say that to you? I wouldn't be saying that to you unless I was asking you to think. You know, even to Bill, I said, Bill, this is your life.
Well, I'm definitely there behind Billy.
You know,
Billy's a good guy.
They're trying to live his life.
It's amazing.
So you guys all got the wool pulled over your eyes?
Well, I sure did.
Yeah.
I had no inkling. I had no inkling that Roy Schultz was going to be in the movie. I had no inkling that the movie would be about Steve Wiebe and Billy. I thought the whole time it was about all the superstar players, the Twin Galaxies. And that big thing down at Pompano Beach, I thought it was just about all these rivalries, that the Donkey Kong one was just another one. That was no big deal.
That's why I was going to hit
you.
See,
I had no idea. No idea.
They were using you.
Yeah, no idea.
Perform. These guys are lucky I don't take a bat and beat them over the head. Because I could see
no
what was going
idea.
on. They were setting us all up, and I was so angry. So, Bill, don't you see what's going on? They set us up. And I'm like, you know, I'm not a lunatic. This is real. But I saw it before everybody else. I was like trying to get everybody's attention. Like I wouldn't have got mad if I wasn't. But you know, because if I talked calm, you wouldn't have listened. If I got mad, you wouldn't listen. Like personal knowledge. Until you believe the evidence around you and arrange it in such a way you find the meaning of a shared community, you won't see it. And so I saw before everybody else. I kept talking to Bill. You know, and like in the way Bill's talking. And this is what I mean. We have to understand the tactics that they're using. They're coming from a whole total different value system. They're postmodern. Whatever it takes, they will try and crush us.
They're Hollywood.
Well, they're evil too. And the thing is, and they won't stop at anything. And the thing, if anyone gets caught in a trap, what happens? Shit falls downhill. It's going to go down to the bottom. And these people thought, you know, they're going to, you know, their disunity will be self-evident. But the thing is, they can do a lot of damage. And I was just trying, like, man, let's see what's going on here, folks. Let's work together because they're using you, and we're losing all this time, and we only have so much time, and we don't even realize that they're the enemy. You know, or we didn't as a group, and I was trying to. Now that the movie, everybody's seen it, it's like that wasn't what we wanted.
Yep, I had no idea. My eyes were covered by wool.
You know, so I was mad. Like I was really mad.
Yeah.
Because I thought. And I was mad at Billy at that time and not talking to him. And he was mad at me and not talking to him. Oh, we weren't talking to anybody. Like, I wasn't, no, because we were all so mad. Oh, yeah. Like, I was the only one who was talking. I was swearing to both of you. So I wasn't talking to Billy, and Billy wasn't talking to me.
Hold the seat beside Walter. Okay. I just took out the mic. We're just going to shoot it like this. This is a much more interesting bit here that I'm not too worried about the sound on.
So anyway, by the time the movie started coming out, and I started seeing how Billy's life was affected, I thought, this is not acceptable. And so that's when I decided that there's no way I can be associated with the movie. And my main thing is that I have to get out all the true bits of information so that truth will prevail, and so that then the public will know what the truth is, and they'll decide how they want to view us, you know, but at least we'll have the truth out there, and that's the most important thing. So that's my goal. My goal is to bring out the truth that shows that Billy is a very positive, very good person. I mean, he can be cocky and stuff like that at times, and so the movie focuses on it too much and gives that coloration that he doesn't truly deserve, because we know how wonderful he is. We know how incredibly positive he is and how good he is to people. And that's the Billy Mitchell that the people have to see based on the evidence that's brought out. We have to do it objective, we have to show it in a structure so that people understand this is true knowledge and we're not just ranting. So anyway.
I'll do the ranting. No, but that's exactly it. Like,
let's do the high level stuff.
Okay, I'll start.
Well, we're on a roll.
Yeah.
Because the New York were made to be too tired to be on a roll.
Yeah, actually, no, just there's a whole. We were talking about the first professional video game contract. You're doing the research and stuff like that. Like I remember back in telling you stories when Brian Mulroney was Prime Minister of Canada. The Otto Jelinek was a sports minister at the time, and the Electronic Sports League, they actually got Otto Jelinek, the sports minister, to make video game an official sport in Canada. This would have been back in the summer of 1985. You know, he just won an election. I think in 1984, our dollar was at 63 cents or 65 cents, and
wow.
And that was actually the first time I met you guys. I actually I went to Los Angeles on the Greyhound bus there, and I showed up that Chinese innkeeper there. Is you and Steve and Billy in the same hotel room.
That's right. That's right.
3 or 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I remember getting incredibly sick and going back to Kansas City with Steve Harris and staying at his house for 2 weeks because I was so sick I couldn't drive home to Fairfield, Iowa. But that was that's considered one of the greatest contests ever done. The one we did in January 1985 at Captain Videos in Los Angeles, because it ran perfectly. There were no problems, and it was beautiful. And
Entertainment Tonight was there.
Entertainment Tonight and ABC Television and a lot of other things too were there. And it is considered a very historical event by video game players, even though the public historians haven't discovered how important this was in video game history, because it will in time, just like That's Incredible event at Twin Galaxies is being recognized now as being history's first official video game world championship in a sense. But you know, I want to get on something else, Twin, that's so incredible. What's so very cool about the work you did and I did, developing the world's first appreciation for the video game superstar back in the early 80s, our work is going to become a part of history forever, simply because future generations are going to embrace what we did and bring it back to life again and again and again and again and again. What that means is this. Everybody is going to become a retro gamer. Now, when we were the stars of video game playing back in 82, 83, 84, 85, it wasn't retro gaming then. It was just modern game playing at that era. However, those games are so important, and that style of high-score-based gameplay is so important that it has an important future that's going to extend into the future, further into the future, and further into the future, because everybody eventually is going to be appreciating those games, because everybody's eventually going to be a retro gamer. And here's what that means. Right now in the world, with those hundreds and hundreds of millions of young video game players, they're part of this big herd of players that jump from tree to tree to tree like monkeys jumping from tree. In other words, jumping from game to game to game, buying these new games. Like when a new game comes out, it takes like 3 years to develop it, $3 million to produce it, and then it markets for only 3 months. And there's like 300 million kids who are out there buying all these new games, and then they jump to the next game when this one game loses its popularity, then they jump to the next game and the next game. If you're a video game manufacturer, and you're lucky enough to come out with a title that attracts the attention of this huge flock of young, 9 to 18-year-old gamers, you'll make a huge fortune in that 3-month period that your game will be marketed. So this big group of people are the modern gamers. But when those gamers get a little bit older, like 18 or 19 or 20 or 16 or 17, they start getting girlfriends, they start getting day jobs, they start going to college, they drop out of that big herd and they stop playing games for a while in many cases. Because they start having responsibilities of having cars, having girlfriends, having jobs, going to school. And they're not playing. And they may not play for 10 years or 12 years until suddenly as a 31-year-older with their own job and their own house and their own wife and their own kids, they go back to game playing. And do they jump back into that big herd of kids jumping from game to game? No. They go back to the games they played 12 years earlier when they stopped playing games. They go back to the games they knew and loved as a child. Eventually, oh, and by the way, those games now that they go back and play that are 12 years old, those are not modern games. Those are now retro games. Those are games of the past. What happens is eventually everybody drops out of the herd. Then when they come back in, they play the games that they left off at because those are dearest to them. Seldom do the people start in with the herd and play the new modern games when they come back in. They usually play the games they had played when they dropped out of that big cycle of buying and selling and playing, with the big marketing cycle of all those huge millions of kids jumping from game to game to game. So what the point is everybody eventually becomes a retro gamer. It's the destiny of almost every player that they play the games of the past because those are dearest to them, and those are the games they love the most. So the future is the past, and that's very important. And how big of a deal of that is that? Well, all games of the past will eventually be the games that the future will play. And how will that manifest? Well, someday, 125 years from now on CNN, some newscaster is going